Hey guys, welcome back to the Great Ace Attorney 2. Let's carry on where we left off. There's a conspiracy going on and I don't like the smell of it. Not just in the game, but in my YouTube comment section too, and my Discord. The whole lot of you are trying to convince me that Detective Gregson is dead. I ain't buying it. No siree. You guys are trying too hard, man. You're trying too hard to get me, I swear. There's just white tape. There's just white tape in that dingy room where Van Zeke supposedly shot and killed him. But, you know, I haven't seen the body, and we all know the rule. If you haven't seen the body, he ain't dead. Of course, I understand why his body's not there left to rot and rigor mortis setting in. It's because they have to conduct an autopsy. But I can't wait to see that photographic print of not Gregson lying dead on the floor, okay? And he's gonna come out, and from the shadows, he's gonna be in disguise the entire time. You know, or he's off to Paris already. He's already moved on to Paris. This is a different Gregson, okay? This is Gregson's brother, I bet. In any case, we have to go to the crime scene. We're no longer welcome here at Van Zeke's cell. He doesn't want a bar of it. And, you know, I don't blame him. He's probably going to defend himself. He could probably do a damn good job. So, let's leave him for now. We're going back to Fresno Street Room. We haven't asked everything we needed to. I just wanted to see where this all supposedly took place. Gina was upset though, I grant you, but she's a good actress. This is all a bad dream. Anyway, let's take a look around the joint. There's plenty to gather up here in terms of evidence. Oh, it's a photograph stand. I suppose it must be a picture of one of Inspector Gregson's family members. Oh yeah. Ooh, they're really sprucing up this scene, making sure you know it's Gregson who died. What's up? You recognize the face? What's the matter? Your eyes look like they're about to pop out of your head. They are, look! Mr. Naruhodo, quickly! What, are they gonna take it away? Oh, it's her! Why do I feel like this woman is familiar somehow? Juror number 2? Of course she's familiar, we only met her this morning. Well, we met her only this morning. Ah! It's Mrs. Vigil, that's the name. Just refer to her as juror number 2 still. This makes no sense. Why would there be a picture of Mrs. Vigil in here? Is this Mr. Vigil's old haunt? To be frank, I don't think I've ever been more stumped. You know, I was stumped for a little bit in the previous chapter, not gonna lie. I'm sorry to say, I have no idea either. The framed photograph has been entered into the court record. A photographic print of a smiling Mrs. Vigil in her younger years. It was found on a disc at the scene of the crime. See, it's just the scene of the crime. It doesn't say the scene where Gregson died. Okay, guys? You know, you can't fool me. I've been around the joint. I wasn't born yesterday, okay? Alright, corkboard. This looks familiar. Back to my Persona 4 days. This looks like some sort of notice board or something. And it's absolutely covered in scraps of paper. Ah, Mr. Naruhodo, look! I'm looking a lot. This, you mean? It's an autopsy report, isn't it? And these are case notes here. And details of prison inmates. Yes. In fact, they're all the sort of documents that only a detective could normally acquire. What on earth went on in this room? Some old newspaper cuttings. Ah, and this one here! Susato's super excited. Or just astonished, really. Oh yes, the advertisement, you mean. To the Red-Headed League. But why? What's that doing here? Of course that's involved. Whoever occupied this room was clearly interested in it for some reason. Well, a recent member was deceased, no? Could that have to do with anything? Hi, can you tell me who really died here? Excuse me. Oh, Inspector... Oh, sir. Poor man. He can't possibly be able to focus on investigating when he's so upset. Also, he can't see me through his hat. Okay, thank you for telling me absolutely nothing. Hi there. Stashed officer. Excuse me. Sorry, sir. Can't see a thing, sir. Too many tears, sir. Oh god, it's a terrible day for rain. Right, perhaps I'd better leave you to your work then. God, so many actors in this room. God. Sheesh, Scotland Yard really went all out to fake his death. What have we got here? Oh, what's this? It would appear to be a little model policeman. It's rather charming, isn't it? In a way. Seeing as it's on the floor here next to where Gregson possibly died. Do you think it belonged to Inspector Gregson? It's a little hard to imagine Lord Van Zeek's playing with something like this. It's only about 8 centimeters tall. Could have fallen out of someone's pocket, I suppose. I think we should record it as evidence, just in case. Yes, I agree. It is rather delightful, after all. In a way. You know. Depends how you see it. Policeman figurine has been entered into the court record, a small and rather endearing model of a British policeman found at the scene of the crime on Fresno Street. I like the name of this street, by the way. Fresno Street. Let's take a look. It's a bit scuffy. The helmet of this charming policeman appears to be a little worse for wear. I'm not convinced about the charming part, but yes, you're right. The head part looks like it's been fairly heavily manhandled. Oh, wow. Almost as if somebody has enjoyed twisting it around and around for fun. Maybe it is Lord Van Zeek's. Shall we try twisting it around and around too? For fun. In a way. Whoa! What's that? It appears to be some sort of key. I'm glad it's a key and not something else that came out between his legs. But it's tiny though. Couldn't be a key for a door. Not that size. So what is it for, I wonder? The details of the policeman figurine have been updated. Model of a British policeman found at the scene of the crime on Fresno Street. Giving it a twist causes a key-like shaft to pop out from the base. It's a shaft, alright. Okay, let's see. Interesting. This looks like some sort of key. Yes, it does. A very tiny and simple key. What's a little key doing inside a figurine of a policeman in the first place? And what's it for? Maybe a safe of some kind, or a case. There's the white tape. He was found in the fetal position, so I suppose this is where the victim, not Gregson, was found? That's right. The rope is laid around the body to show exactly how it was found. Poor Inspector Gregson himself had already been taken away. He would probably be under Dr. Scythe's scalpel by now, if not for what happened last week. From the shape of the rope, it would appear that the inspector was curled up in a ball. He was shot and collapsed into a ball. Are you feeling alright, Mr. Naruhodo? You look like you've just seen a ghost. I know it's just a rope, but it conjures up quite a terrifying image, that's all. Especially with that blood stain next to it. Oh, I do understand. In some ways, what we picture in our minds can be even worse than reality. Susato-san is so strong, though. She's taking this far better than I am. Yeah, maybe it's the lack of his body there. Or maybe she knows as well that it's not Gregson who died. This is presumably the murder weapon, then. Oh my. It is real, I suppose. I think so. Guns are so rare in Japan, I really know very little about them, even though one was involved in my case. There's only one way to know for sure, Mr. Naruhodo. Fire a shot! Excuse you? No! If I did that, I'd be looking for a skilled lawyer to represent me in court. I've only defended myself, like, twice. Once and a half, really, if you count the SS Buria and the lack of a court trial that followed. Slightly safer just to ask someone who might know, I think. The killer's revolver has been entered into the court record. A murder weapon that was found at the scene of the crime on Fresno Street. Probably best to avoid handling it. Does that mean I can't inspect it? Let's take a look. Really quickly, I can look at it. I suppose this must have been the murder weapon. Oh my. It is real, I suppose. I think so. This is the same dialogue we had when I picked it up. It is. Well, it did say not to handle it, so there's that. The wig. Let's take a look at the wig. Ever since we came in here, I can't take my eyes off this thing. Oh, funnily enough, neither can I. It's a hairpiece, isn't it? It is! It is! A bright red hairpiece! And I suppose the fact that it's right there next to where the body was found. I wonder if Gregson was part of the Red-Headed League using this wig, and then when he obviously passed away, that's when they announced that there was a vacancy. Which means he must have been part of the League for some time then. Means we have to accept that Inspector Gregson wore wigs, does it? And in such a flame-colored red, too. Yes, that's a color we've come across very recently elsewhere, isn't it? Exactly. This is a vital clue, I'm sure of it. Alright, the red hairpiece. Flame red wig. Found at the scene of the crime on Fresno Street. Presumably it belonged to Inspector Gregson, but imagine if it was Van Zeek's. Okay, we can talk to this police officer. We can look at the boarded up windows too. Somebody's very haphazardly nailed those boards over the broken glass, haven't they? Couldn't even really call it a window anymore. Might as well have used brick.
Well, if you remember the window in Mr. Natsume's room, that was totally blocked up with bricks. This one does at least let in some light, so you could say...
You could say nothing more about it. I'm starting to feel even more sorry for Mr. Natsume now. It's okay, he's back in Japan, alive and healthy. Take a look at this. The top of one of the candles in this candle holder has been completely blown off.
Yes, there's wax battered on the wall behind, look.
I suppose if a bullet had hit it.
It does seem likely that the bullet hit the candle.
Oh.
Having first passed through the inspector's body.
Ugh. Now that wax on the wall looks like blood to me. Candelabrum! The candelabrum! Candelabrum! From the wall on the room on Fresno Street, where the inspector was found dead, the top of one of the candles appears to have been blown off. I can't see the wax, however. Maybe I'm blind. In any case, police officer, hello. Excuse me. If you're looking down on us from the great beyond, Inspector, don't worry. We'll look after things at the yard. I've interrupted some deep thoughts there. Well, there's a fireplace here. An empty fireplace makes a room feel even colder than it would be otherwise, doesn't it?
It's thick with dust, look. I think it would be fair to say it hasn't been used in a very long time.
In other words, whoever lived in this room must have been extremely hardy in cold weather.
Or nobody lived here at all, and merely visited when the occasion arose. I wouldn't like to say which is more likely.
No, that's right. It's one or the other. Okay. That's not the last thing in this room, possibly. Anything else? I think we've exhausted everything there is to see here. One good way to check is to try and move around. Or we can converse with Gina, because we haven't done that yet. Inspector Gregson, I should probably have spoken to you first before nosying around. Gina, what was Inspector Gregson doing here in the first place?
That's what I want to know. It's what, half a year since I got out of the clink? That's when I decided to give up me diving and become a detective instead.
Oh yes, Mr. Sholmes twisted the inspector's arm to agree to take you on as an apprentice, didn't he?
Something like that, I think. Anyway, the point is, I didn't really know much about the boss till then. But it turns out, he's a bit of a legend at the yard. Goodness, really? They say he managed to solve some really tricky case, just like that.
He did? Or were they reading the Adventures of Herlock Sholmes, where he's put in a good light thanks to his relationship with Iris?
Yep, and ever since then, he started going out with on all sorts of investigations, but always on his own. No one else at the yard even knows what half the cases he's worked on are, apparently.
That's not how it's supposed to work, is it? So what was the legendary inspector doing in a dingy little room like this? Inspecting!
I know he had a lot of respect for the Reaper and all. And look where that landed him!
Respect for the Reaper? In what way?
I heard him say as much. I take my hat off to that fella. Were his words.
Not how the general public feels, is it? Most people are terrified of the Reaper.
Yeah, the boss said that's exactly why he respected the bloke.
I didn't realize Gregson held the Reaper in quite such high regard.
He said something else to me and all. That I didn't need to worry about the Reaper. Because he only goes after people what are bad.
Yeah, about that. I mean, the people who survive are the ones who are outside of Great Britain, right? People that perhaps Lord Strongheart couldn't get to kill. To keep the legend up. The legend of the Reaper.
It did kind of set my mind at ease when he said that.
Because, you know, it could be an excuse for the real professor to carry on killing people. Killing people as a result of the Reaper. And the curse that is alongside him. Right. The crime scene. What is this place then? Does anyone live here?
Apparently it's been rented by some cove called Hugh Bone.
Oh, sorry. Hugh Boone. Not Hugh Bone. Hugh Boone. It's a sort of here today, gone tomorrow name, that, isn't it?
Yeah, he's what we call an unidentified person. We haven't been able to get in touch with him.
Oh, it's your John Doe, is it? I see. Well, judging from appearances, I'd have to say this place hasn't been lived in for a long time. If ever.
Right? All the lads from the yard piled down to get stuck into the investigation. But there's so little air. No one knew what to do with themselves.
So little here, we gathered so much for the court record.
I do wonder.
Yes, Mr. Sato?
Well, could it be that this Hugh Boone is in fact Inspector Gregson himself?
What? How could that be? Does he have a salary that's not constantly tweaked and altered by the prosecutor, Lord Van Zeeks?
Well, if he was investigating on his own, it's quite possible that this was in fact some kind of secret office of his.
I'd never even considered that.
Nice work, Suze. We're actually following a line of inquiry like that ourselves.
You are?
If you look around the room, you'll see there's a few things that hint at it.
We should really investigate this place in detail. Already done. The incident.
I see that's where the poor inspector was found. Over there. Yeah, that's right. They said it was a single bullet what did him in.
Just one bullet?
Apparently the bullet went right through him and struck that candle tree on the wall.
Oh yes, it's blown one of the candles apart completely.
And the gun used is there on the floor. It's the Reaper's, isn't it? No denying that.
What? Really?
How do you know that? Take it easy. I don't know what to do with myself when you stare at me with them big wide eyes.
Sorry.
I'm only saying what I've heard. I don't know much about guns myself. But there's some bigwig lawman or whatever who said so. Why don't you ask him?
A bigwig lawman, is it? Oh yeah. There's only one big wig I know.
Anyway, Fresno Street runs along under that window there. There were some street sellers just outside who heard the gunshot. Oh, but I don't recall seeing anybody outside. Yeah, they've all been taken down the yard for questioning, that's why. We're talking about the yard's legendary inspector here, after all. They'll be getting a grilling.
Do you think we might be able to speak with those street sellers ourselves?
I doubt it. The lads at the yard will just want to know what you're snooping for, and you'll be up for a grilling and all.
So we can't interview the witnesses then. Shame. Okay. Well, that's everything I've got to ask you. Maybe stuff to present? The framed photograph, maybe? Gina, what do you make of this? Don't steal it.
What was that? Evidence? Work something up about what happened, have you?
Oh, no, not exactly.
I ain't been long enough in the job to get all this deducting business yet. But I swear I'm gonna get the person what did this to the boss.
Okay, you do that. Let's examine... No, sorry. I want to examine something on the court record, the candelabrum. Let's take a look at this. There are some black marks here, look.
Yes, they look like some sort of scorch marks.
So perhaps the bullet struck the candle here, do you think? It's only this one candle that's been cracked in half, it seems.
Yes, I think you might be right. Firearms are rarely used by criminals in Japan, so I'm afraid I'm not particularly knowledgeable about them.
What about your blue book? Is there anything in there? Probably not. Okay, I think we're done for now at Fresno Street Room. The description's changed, but we haven't been to Lord Chief Justice's office for quite some time. The bigwig lawman might have an answer or two for us. Let's see. 1st November. British Supreme Court. Lord Chief Justice's office. It's always nerve-wracking when it's just a blank screen rather than the actual office itself. You've made good time.
I took an express train back to London.
I can hear Lord Strongheart. Can you?
Yes, it sounds as though he's talking to someone.
Kazuma! Is everything in place?
I had a private compartment on the train, so I could check all the paperwork. It's... Kazuma-sama!
Hi, friends. Ah, your timing is impeccable. It is? Everyone's timing is impeccable today. No doubt you've heard the sickening news about the Reaper's latest devilry. Don't tell me Kazuma's gonna prosecute this case. Is that what's going to happen? Yes.
I'm sure you don't believe it, of course, though, Lord Strongheart. That Lord Van Zeeks could have done such a thing to Inspector Gregson.
I believe only in the facts. His name is the fucking Reaper of the Bailey. He's more than capable of killing people. And the facts in this case point to one thing. The unavoidable accusal of Lord Van Zeeks for this crime. We must bring charges against the Reaper for taking the life of our legendary detective.
Oh no, surely not!
It's a truly regrettable situation. Tomorrow the Forensic Science Symposium finally begins. And, well, Gregson and the Reaper were in the way of my huge ambition, so I had to kill him. At the very least, though, we can show the world our justice system's swift and equitable processes.
So does that mean the trial is tomorrow?
Precisely. In fact, this is a fine opportunity for introductions.
Kazuma.
Ah, but of course. You're already acquainted, aren't you? Mr. Asogi here will be present at tomorrow's proceedings, leading the prosecution.
You're shitting me.
No!
Why?
Wait. What? Kazuma? As I'm sure you're aware, he's a very capable practitioner of law.
Kazuma-sama, a prosecutor.
Oh my god, he's changed sides, and now he's just standing there menacingly. What the heck? Tomorrow's trial. I'm sure you can imagine that tomorrow's trial will be closely followed all over London. In fact, no. People all over the Empire will be watching closely to see how it unfolds. How? Television hasn't been invented yet.
There's no salvation for anyone in a trial prosecuted by the Reaper of the Bailey. And now, the Reaper himself must stand in the dock.
Quite so. The public want answers about the Reaper. Answers about how and why those who escaped conviction subsequently died mysterious deaths. I bet it's all your fault, Lord Strongheart. You just got that villainous air about you, you know?
But Lord Van Zeek's family denies any involvement in such matters.
It'll be a twist if he's not the villain. Rather than a twist that he is the villain, you know what I mean?
And there have been thorough investigations that have proven him to be innocent.
That's certainly true. Or it has been, at least until now. No, tomorrow's trial will mark the start of a new chapter in our country's great judicial history. Okay, well, I can't wait to throw a spanner into the works. Literally, this office is made up of cogs, and I'm going to ruin it. Prosecutor Asogi. So, Kazuma will be prosecuting tomorrow. That's right.
But he's a defense lawyer, Lord Strongheart.
Not since you took his armband. Accomplished young law practitioners cannot pick and choose their roles. And imagine what it will mean for the prosecution to know the strategies commonly employed by the defense. He doesn't know my strategies, which is bluff here and bluff there, and hope to come up with an answer and a summation examination or two thrown into the mix. A devastating combination, wouldn't you agree? Yes, but he lacks prosecutor experience, so surely I'll stomp all over him.
Absolutely. I have no doubt at all that Kazuma will be razor sharp as a prosecutor. I might have to bang him in the head again. But why Kazuma-sama? There's surely many other highly skilled prosecutors in Great Britain.
It was a personal request. I asked to be assigned to the trial.
You asked for this? But why?
It'll all become clear tomorrow. I'm guessing you intend to stand for the defense, don't you? Although, the Reaper appears to be turning down all offers of representation.
That he is. I'm surprised such a personal request would have been upheld. It seems unprecedented. Quite exceptional, in fact.
I do like a good drama. You are quite right, Miss Mikatoba. Tomorrow's trial will be unprecedented and exceptional in every way. After all, the accused is one of Britain's greatest prosecutors, the pride of the Empire. It would be unwise to give the public a reason to perceive it as the judiciary closing ranks. So that's why you're happy to let a foreigner handle the prosecution? To eliminate any conflict of interest?
Ryunosuke, let's see how your skills have been honed. After practicing law in this land for so many months.
Kazuma, I don't understand why you're being so hostile to me now. This isn't going to end well, my friend. I didn't know you were alive, okay? I tried. I didn't mean to take your place. This is an invasion of the body snatchers, okay? Except, you know, it's career snatching. I didn't mean to leave you lost somewhere in the world, okay? The killer's gun. Oh yes, we noticed that there was a gun at the scene of Inspector Gregson's death. Do you know if it belongs to Lord Van Zeeks? That would be a question for the lead detective investigating the scene. Well, the thing is, she wasn't sure, so she told me I should ask somebody higher up who might know.
That's right, Mr. Naruhodo. Be direct.
Yeah, that's right. I got my balls with me. It's certainly a model that's issued to all personnel involved in law enforcement, yes. Which includes prosecutors, as I'm sure you can imagine. Prosecutors are allowed to carry? Sheesh. Well, I mean, Kazuma's got a sword. Then again, I had a sword, but that was defense.
In that case, it could actually have belonged to the victim.
No. Gregson had his gun on his person.
What about Lord Van Zeeks?
He claims it's currently not in his possession.
What?
According to his story, he lost it. Convenient. In short, it's more than a little suspicious.
But just because the gun in question is the same type as the defendant's, there's no proof that it's actually his.
No, of course not. Nevertheless, the situation is grave for Lord Van Zeeks. Okay. Well, Kazuma, just what the hell are you doing?
I'm sorry for all the worry I've caused you, but it'll be alright now.
Has your memory completely returned?
Yes, completely.
I remember everything. I remember I was afraid to tell you that I actually hate you and you're not my friend.
Including what I was coming here to do.
Right. You were meant to tell me before your untimely passing, yet you didn't actually untimely pass.
Kazuma-sama, I can't tell you how happy I am to see you alive and well like this. But how did you come to be here in London when you were suffering from amnesia?
It was the voice. This past year, I've been hearing it in my head constantly, saying the same thing over and over. Go to London. That's where your destiny awaits. It was that voice that guided me here to London.
I'm so sorry for what's happened.
We didn't know. I promise.
Anyway, my memory might have returned to me. But there's something that won't return to the way it was before.
Huh? What do you mean? The Asogi clan's family name.
I'm a prosecutor now, so I'm sure our paths will cross again very soon.
Oh yeah, they will. It doesn't look like we're going to glean much more here. Well, thank you very much, Lord Strongheart. Remember, tomorrow's trial will go down in our Empire's history. There's much you could learn from the public gallery. You think I'm not going to be able to represent Lord Van Zeeks? Sorry to have taken up so much of your time. We'll see ourselves out.
Hold it!
Whoa!
Before you go, Ryunosuke. What is it, Kazuma?
God damn, I missed your theme. It's so good.
I just wanted to thank you. Kazuma-sama, what?
My sword is well polished. You took my determination to heart and brought it with you over the ocean in my stead. And you carried out my role to perfection.
You always were intent on studying British law in order to change our own justice system.
No, I don't think that was the full reason why he came.
It was your dream, and Mr. Naruhodo didn't want that to die with you.
Yes, but I had another purpose for coming here.
Oh.
I actually have a favor to ask.
Which is?
This trial I'll be prosecuting tomorrow. I'd like you to be there to see how it ends. Right in front of me. As the defense counsel. Why? What's this all about? I know you have what it takes. Well, it all depends on whether he appoints me or not, but Lord Van Zieks would never put his fate in my hands. On the contrary, he recognizes your talent. He does? You guys were gossiping about me when you were his apprentice, were you? Actually? It's not easy to see behind the facade sometimes. Here, have a look at this. Whoa. Looky here. Aww. Aww, look at me smiling and everything. Lord Van Zieks. Holy shit, bro.
That's Lord Van Zieks and Inspector Gregson.
Then his brother. And a photograph that must have been taken some time ago by the look of it. And who's the third person? I can't possibly think. Clint.
It was displayed very prominently in the detective's office.
In Gregson's office, you mean?
Yes. What I'm trying to say is, if you really think you can trust the Reaper, you might find that some straight talking makes him take a different view. Take it.
Gregson's photograph has been entered into the court record. We obviously need to present this to him. An old photograph in print displayed rather prominently in Inspector Gregson's office, as if it was a treasured memory. That's a nice photo. Aw, man. Shit. My heart's melting. I don't understand. Why are you giving me this?
Just hurry, Ryunosuke. Visiting hours at the prison are almost over.
What are you doing, Kazuma? Damn it. Okay. I'm on the move. Prison. I haven't visited for quite some time. 1st November. Local prison. Cell 1. Lord Van Zieks is still reading that letter.
We've been gone quite some time, though.
Yeah, geez. What a slow reader he is. Either he's an incredibly slow reader, or it's an incredibly long letter. I might even be able to read English faster than he can. Stop fucking talking about me behind my back. I was intending to ignore you entirely. But I can't turn a deaf ear to such an insulting Nipponese. Oh, shit. Honestly, the soundtrack of this game is so good. Oh, man, it's been so long. I am not a fan of Spirit of Justice. I've made that quite clear a few times on the Discord. And honestly, I was scared I'd never like another Ace Attorney game, especially because I started playing Danganronpa, and I was like, oh man, Danganronpa, ooh, this is the shit. You know, this is high stakes. You know, the class trials, the non-stop debates. Got my adrenaline rush. And I wasn't getting the same thing from Ace Attorney anymore, you know. But I think the Great Ace Attorney Chronicles changed my mind, I think, and I'm really, really enjoying this right now. If you couldn't tell. Oh, sorry, I didn't think you'd hear that. I had the case notes brought to me in secret. I was reading them to pass the time. Oh, interesting.
Yes, we heard that your trial is set for tomorrow.
Which is none of your business. So, have you found a lawyer? How many times must I reiterate the same thing? This is nothing to do with you. And do you think I can find a lawyer? I can't leave my cell. In other words, no.
We were just talking to Lord Strongheart, and the prosecutor for your trial has been decided.
I'd expect nothing less, though I have no idea who it is.
It's going to be Kazuma Asogi.
Asogi. That made the color drain from his face. What little color there was to begin with. Well then. It seems I'm going to have to engage in conversation with you again after all. Ooh, okay, that got his ears perked up. Alright, Asogi. 10 years ago, my older brother, who was the director of prosecutions at the time, was murdered. And the killer, as you know, was a visiting student from the Far East. Not a single day goes by when I don't curse the name Asogi.
Genshin Asogi was Kazuma-sama's father.
Or, if we're going by the Game Awards, Genshin Asogi. So what cruel twist of fate is this now, 10 years later? The man's son is to crucify me in some kangaroo court. I still don't understand why Lord Strongheart apprenticed Kazuma to you. It's what he does. No doubt he knew of the young man's true identity from the outset.
But what could he have been hoping to achieve?
The undoing of the Reaper of the Bailey, I think. Why? Perhaps you were getting too close. If you were working with Gregson, investigating things that should have stayed buried 10 years ago. And let's not forget that it was only 8 days ago that Kazuma recovered from his amnesia. Why would Lord Strongheart assign this trial to somebody like that? Asogi. That name is the very epitome of my bane. The bane that is you Nipponese. Right, your hatred of all us Japanese. The Nipponese bane. I'd only just been appointed as a prosecutor when it happened 10 years ago. My brother Clint, the director of prosecutions, was hunting down a mass murderer. The so-called professor. Assigned to the investigation as his partner was a certain visiting student dispatched from Scotland Yard. And that was Genshin Asogi. Exactly. I developed a deep respect for the man. He seemed noble-minded and chivalrous in the extreme to me. But none of us saw the true nature of the man. Ooh, new music. So I lost everything when it happened. My esteemed brother, the people I believed in, and any semblance of right prevailing over wrong.
Oh, how awful.
To avenge my brother, I prosecuted Inasogi's trial. It wouldn't ordinarily have been allowed, but I beleaguered the ascribed prosecutor until he consented. Interesting, so you're responsible for putting him away.
What do you mean by the ascribed prosecutor?
The man in charge of the professor's case inquiry, Lord Mael Strongheart. Aha. Wait, what? Lord Strongheart? He was a highly accomplished prosecutor, but he agreed to relinquish the trial to me and act as my advisor instead. This is getting more and more fishy by the second. Since that time, he's the only one person to whom I felt indebted. This is just giving me Von Karma, Edgeworth vibes, you know?
I'm sure he must have seen your zeal for the case and recognized your potential as a prosecutor.
Anyway, time passed, but then earlier this year, who should arrive in London but you? And of all things, as a lawyer, could have been worse. Could have been Asogi himself. Oh, I just realized it's like a more somber version of his theme. I felt your animosity the first time I ever faced you in the courtroom, which happened to be the day I arrived. Your obvious deep loathing of us Japanese. I kept telling myself it was illogical. But for so many years, that hatred had festered inside me. I could no longer control it. And I can understand why now I know the history. But in the same way that I've long felt the Nipponese to be the bane of my life, to Kazuma Asogi, I am the bane of his. The Reaper who sent his father to the gallows. He's looking for revenge, and he intends to take it in court tomorrow. I like to think that Genshin Asogi is so prideful as an Asogi clan member that when he freaking hung, he came back from the grave. He's like, "No, I'm not letting it in like this," and then someone had to put him down again. That's a real shame, though. Inspector Gregson. Gregson's transfer to the Paris Police Prefecture had finally been arranged for the coming month. Damn it. It was a death flag. It was a death flag right in my eyes. I thought it was going to be Mikatoba who bit the bullet, but no. But he'll never make it to France now. It's a tragedy. Oh yes, come to think of it, he did mention something about that, didn't he? I bet he's sipping a pina colada there right now. Did those exist back then?
I wonder, does it happen often? Being transferred internationally, I mean.
It's the first time I've ever encountered it. Yeah, that does sound quite bizarre, no? He probably wanted to get rid of him without killing him.
Oh.
The Paris police welcoming an English detective is almost inconceivable. Yeah. I can't imagine what kind of magic Gregson must have worked to put that arrangement in place. Sounds like that mystery has even the Reaper perplexed.
I'm afraid to say that we were very ignorant about Inspector Gregson's standing. We hear that he was considered something of a legend at Scotland Yard.
Oh, now Gregson's theme's playing. What? Oh my god, when I actually see the photograph print of his dead body, I'm going to... I don't know, I'm gonna blue screen, man. That never happens. No, no. Gregson can't just die like this off screen, god damn it. Again, it was 10 years ago that he made a name for himself. By uncovering a decisive piece of evidence that exposed the professor's identity. If it wasn't for Gregson's singular approach to the case, then discovery would never have been made. What sort of approach? After my brother's life was taken, the inspector pushed for a full autopsy.
Oh my, 10 years ago?
Why is that so surprising? Autopsy was considered a desecration of the body at the time, and rarely performed. And my brother was of course a noble. That made the idea of it even more unthinkable. But something Gregson had dug up in his investigations made him determined it was necessary. His powerful conviction somehow influenced the House of Lords, and as a result I could avenge my brother's death. So, you must have had great confidence in the inspector's abilities then.
And it's even more inconceivable that you would have taken his life.
I don't have confidence in anyone.
Oh?
And I'm sure Gregson felt the same way. I've no doubt he thought of me only as the ominous Reaper, just like the rest of London. Ah, not until I show you this picture, sir. What really went on between Lord Van Zieks and Gregson, I wonder? What was the true nature of their relationship? Your gun. About the gun used to shoot the inspector that was found at the scene? Ah, yes. That's not mine. Really? Because common opinion seems to be that it is. What do you expect me to say to that?
Lord Strongheart informs us that you claim to have misplaced your firearm.
Surprised someone of your caliber, pun intended, would do such a thing. As embarrassing as that is, I'm afraid it's true. When did you lose it then? That, I don't know.
Oh.
I was issued with a revolver when I first became a prosecutor 10 years ago. I must have stowed it somewhere, I suppose. Or left it somewhere, perhaps. Okay, when did you lose it? Because this very well could be your gun. It was just stolen ages ago and it's only resurfacing now to frame you.
You have something in common with Lord Van Zieks after all, Mr. Naruhodo. A talent for misplacing things.
No. This has nothing to do with me. Don't drag me into it. Don't make the mistake of associating me with this... well, Nipponese.
Oh dear. The rift is very wide, isn't it?
So it's not decisive evidence, clearly. But it doesn't look good, that's for sure. Right, well I have one last card to play. Let's do it. Lord Van Zieks, we came by this old photograph. Where did you get that? Ah, damn it. Happier times. I'm always a sucker for like photos that take place in happier times. It was taken when I became a qualified prosecutor. It's almost unbelievable. I assumed it was long lost. Is the man on the left there? Yes, that's my brother, Clint. The details of Gregson's photograph have been updated. The person on the left is Lord Clint Van Zieks. It had to be, really. I don't know what I expected. Apparently, this picture was prominently displayed in Gregson's office. He had a deep respect for you, you know. Were you aware of that? Respect? That's nonsense. No, we've heard someone attest to it very clearly. Inspector Gina Lestrade, no less. Well, Maybe once, yes. There was a time things were like that. We were brothers in arms, jovially discussing the future of justice and other such lofty subject matter. That was a nice glimpse of the past. I thank you. I feel as though I got a nice glimpse of the past then, too. There was a glimmer of light in his eyes, a brief twinkle, an insight into the true nature of this man known to all as the stone-cold Reaper of the Bailey. Well, Mr. Naruhodo. Oh, that's my name. That's the first time he's ever used my actual name. I've lost all confidence in my country's justice system. I don't trust the police, the judiciary, or lawyers. But there's still one thing I'm willing to believe in. What's that? That which you see in the eyes of another across the courtroom. A simple determination to know the truth. Damn, I got his respect. Holy shit.
Lord Van Zieks?
From the very first time we clashed in the Bailey almost a year ago now. I couldn't deny it, even though I dearly wished I could. Here's a loathsome Nipponese, who has the absolute integrity as a lawyer. There are only two other men I've known with that same look in their eyes. My brother, Clint, and Genshin Osogi. The man he idolized and the man who betrayed his trust in the most hideous way. Holy shit. When you showed me that photograph just now, it reminded me. You mean this photograph? Back then I was able to laugh. I was free of the shackles of mistrust that plague me now. I looked to the future with hope. I can't wait to bring that man back. Since then I've protected myself against betrayal by refusing to trust anyone. But at times the mire into which I've sunk makes it almost impossible to breathe. I'm so sorry. So, Mr. Naruhodo, I want to believe in that look in your eyes. I need to believe in it. In tomorrow's trial. I'm most emotional saying this. Will you advocate for me? Of course I will. It would be an honor. I'm representing it.
I'm so pleased, Mr. Naruhodo.
Then my life is in your hands. God damn it, this is just giving me Blackwell vibes. Oh, I love it. Blackwell, I was like so determined to save that guy, and now, yeah, we gotta do this for Lord Van Zieks. That must have been an incredibly hard thing to ask. I know it was. Which is why I simply cannot let the man down. Tomorrow, in the Old Bailey, against my old friend, Kazuma. I'm so hyped, baby! This is happening! This is actually happening. To be continued. Let's go to the Old Bailey.